How much thought and hurt, even towards each other, were put into our decision.
Still up, George?
Yeah.
We worked together for a long time. We fought a lot in the beginning because he wasn't quite the man that I married.
Love can be the most beautiful thing in the world, but it can also be the most dangerous. Today we're going to talk about something that might shock you. Behind the sweet songs about love and heartbreak that we all know and love, some of country music's biggest stars were living through real-life drama that was way more painful than anything they ever sang about. These weren't just songs. These were real people making real mistakes that destroyed real families. What you're about to hear are 17 true stories about country music stars who fell in love with the wrong people at the wrong time. These love affairs didn't just break hearts. They completely destroyed marriages, tore families apart, and changed lives forever. Some of these stories might surprise you because they involve singers you probably thought were perfect. But the truth is, nobody is perfect, and love can make people do crazy things. So get ready to hear about the secret affairs, the broken promises, and the painful endings that happen behind the scenes of country music. These stories show us that even the most famous people in the world struggle with love, trust, and making the right choices. The first story we need to talk about is probably the most famous love affair in all of country music history. It's about two people whose love story is still talked about today, but what most people don't know is how much pain it caused before it became beautiful. Johnny Cash was already married to a woman named Vivian when he met June Carter in 1956. Vivian was his first wife, and they had been together for years. She loved Johnny and trusted him completely. June Carter had just gotten out of her own marriage to a man named Carl Smith, and even though she married someone else the next year, she and Johnny kept working together on stage. Every time Johnny and June performed together, something special happened. You could see it in their eyes, hear it in their voices. The audience could feel the connection between them. But what the audience didn't know was that this connection was slowly destroying Johnny's marriage to Vivian. Vivian wasn't stupid. She could see what was happening. Every time her husband went on tour with June, every time they sang together, every time they looked at each other, Vivian's heart broke a little more. She tried to ignore it first, but the rumors started spreading. People began talking about Johnny and June, and Vivian couldn't pretend anymore that everything was okay. For 10 long years, Vivian watched her marriage slowly fall apart. She watched her husband fall in love with another woman right in front of everyone's eyes. In 1966, after 14 years of marriage, Vivian finally gave up. She filed for divorce because she couldn't take the pain anymore. That same year, June also ended her second marriage. 2 years later, something amazing happened that broke millions of hearts while it healed 2 others. Johnny proposed to June right there on stage during a concert. Can you imagine how Vivian felt when she heard about that? The man who had promised to love her forever was now promising the same thing to someone else, and he did it in front of thousands of people. Johnny and June got married in 1968, and they stayed together for 35 years until June died in 2003. Many people think their love story is one of the most beautiful in music history. But June herself once said something that shows how hard it really was. She said she felt terrible sadness because she was falling in love with someone she wasn't supposed to love. She knew it was wrong, but she couldn't help herself. Their love story shows us something important about life. Sometimes the most beautiful love stories start with the most painful endings. Johnny and June found happiness together, but it came at the cost of breaking Vivian's heart and destroying a family. It's a reminder that every choice we make affects other people, even when we think we're just following our hearts. The next story is about a country music legend whose secret was discovered in the worst possible way. Willie Nelson married a singer named Shirley Collie in 1963. Shirley was talented and beautiful, and she supported Willie as he tried to make it big in Nashville. For years, they seemed happy together. They performed on stage, shared their dreams, and built what looked like a perfect life. But Willie was keeping a huge secret from his wife. For years, he had been having an affair with a woman named Connie. Shirley had no idea this other woman even existed. She trusted Willie completely and never suspected that he was living 2 different lives. In 1969, Shirley's world came crashing down in the most heartbreaking way possible. She was going through some papers at home when she found a hospital bill from Houston. When she read it, she couldn't believe her eyes. The bill was for the birth of a baby girl named Paula, and it said the mother was Mrs. Connie Nelson. Willie's last name was Nelson, but Shirley had never heard of any woman named Connie Nelson. Imagine how Shirley felt in that moment. She must have read the hospital bill over and over again, hoping she was making a mistake. But there it was in black and white. Proof that her husband had another woman and a child she knew nothing about. When she confronted Willie about it, she asked him, "Who in the hell is Connie Nelson?" She was shocked, hurt, and probably felt like her whole marriage had been a lie. Willie finally told her the truth. He admitted that Connie had been his girlfriend for many years and that she had gotten pregnant with his child. All this time, while Shirley thought she was Willie's only love, he had been sharing his heart and his life with another woman. The pain of finding out this way, through a hospital bill instead of hearing it from her husband, was too much for Shirley to handle. How can you trust someone again after they've lied to you for years? How can you rebuild a marriage when you find out your whole relationship was built on secrets? Shirley and Willie got divorced in 1971. Willie went on to marry Connie, the woman he'd been secretly seeing all along. But for Shirley, the damage was done. She had to rebuild her entire life and learn to trust again after being betrayed by the person she loved most. This story teaches us that secrets always come out eventually, and when they do, they usually hurt even more than the truth would have in the beginning. If Willie had been honest with Shirley from the start, maybe they could have figured things out differently. Instead, his lies destroyed their marriage and left scars that probably never fully healed. Our third story takes us to more recent times, when the internet and social media made it even harder for celebrities to keep their private lives private. LeAnn Rimes was a young country music star who seemed to have everything going for her. She was married to Dean Shearman in 2002, and they looked like the perfect young couple starting their life together. But in 2008, everything changed when LeAnn was hired to act in a movie called Northern Lights. Her co-star was an actor named Eddie Cibrian, who was married to a woman named Brandi Glanville. At first, LeAnn and Eddie said they were just friends working together on the movie. But as the months went by, rumors started spreading that there was more going on between them than just friendship. Both LeAnn and Eddie denied the rumors at first. Eddie even said the stories were completely made up and that people were just creating drama from random photos. But the whispers didn't stop, and by 2009, the truth finally came out. Both LeAnn and Eddie separated from their spouses. Can you imagine how their husband and wife felt? Dean and Brandi had trusted their spouses completely, and then suddenly they found out that the two people they loved most in the world had fallen in love with each other. It wasn't just that their marriages were ending. It was that they were ending because their spouses had found someone else they liked better. The whole situation became very public and very messy. There were news stories, gossip magazines, and social media posts about what had happened. Dean and Brandi had to watch their private pain become entertainment for the whole world. LeAnn and Eddie got married in 2011, and they've stayed together for over 10 years now. Some people might say that proves their love was real and worth fighting for. But Dean and Brandi had to pick up the pieces of their broken hearts and start over again. This story shows us how complicated love can be in the modern world. When you're famous, your mistakes don't just hurt the people you love. They become headlines that millions of people read about. It also shows us that sometimes people do find their true love after making mistakes, but that doesn't make the pain they caused any less real. The fourth story is about one of country music's biggest male stars and a love that grew slowly over many years before it finally broke apart a long marriage. Garth Brooks was married to his college sweetheart, Sandy Mal, for 15 years. They had 3 daughters together and seemed like a strong, stable family that had survived all the craziness of fame and success. During those 15 years, Garth became close friends with another country singer named Trisha Yearwood. They met in 1987 when they were both trying to make it in Nashville, and over the years they sang together, toured together, and supported each other's careers. Everyone could see they had a special connection, but for over a decade, it seemed like they were just really good friends. But sometimes the most dangerous kind of love affair is the one that grows slowly over time. When you spend years getting to know someone, sharing your dreams and fears, and being there for each other through good times and bad times, It's easy for friendship to turn into something deeper without you even realizing it happening. While Garth and Trisha never publicly admitted to having an affair during his marriage, many people believe that their emotional connection played a big part in why his marriage to Sandy ended. Sometimes an emotional affair can be just as damaging as a physical one. When your spouse starts sharing their heart with someone else, even if they're not sharing their body, it can feel just as much like betrayal. In 2001, Garth and Sandy got divorced. Almost immediately, Garth and Trisha started dating openly. They got married in 2005, finally making their relationship official after years of speculation. This story is different from some of the others because it shows how love can grow gradually over time. Garth and Trisha probably didn't wake up one day and decide to have an affair. Instead, their friendship slowly deepened into love over many years. But that doesn't make it any less painful for Sandy, who had to watch her husband's heart slowly drift away from her and towards someone else. The fifth story involves one of country music's most successful female artists and a betrayal that came from the people she trusted most in the world. Shania Twain was married to a music producer named Robert John Mutt Lange, and they had built what seemed like a perfect life together. They had a son named Aja, and Mutt had helped make Shania one of the biggest stars in the world. Shania also had a very close friend named Marianne Thibault, who worked as her assistant and was like a sister to her. Marianne was married to a Swiss businessman named Frederick Thibault, and the two couples spent holidays together and shared homes. They were like family to each other. In 2008, Shania's world completely fell apart when Frederick discovered evidence that his wife Marianne was having an affair with Shania's husband Mutt. Imagine finding out that your spouse is cheating on you with your best friend's spouse. It's like being betrayed by the four people you trust most in the world all at once. When Shania found out, she was devastated. The man she loved had left her for her best friend. The woman she trusted like a sister had lied to her face while sleeping with her husband. Shania later said that Marianne even changed her phone number to cut off all contact, leaving Shania completely alone to deal with the pain. The stress of the betrayal was so bad that Shania actually developed problems with her voice. The emotional pain was affecting her physically, threatening the career that meant everything to her. She felt like she had lost everything: her husband, her best friend, and possibly even her ability to sing. But sometimes the most unexpected things can come from the worst situations. Frederick, who was also dealing with the pain of being betrayed, became Shania's emotional support during this terrible time. At first, she didn't want his comfort because the situation was too weird and painful. But slowly, their shared heartbreak brought them together. In 2011, Shania married Frederick in a small ceremony in Puerto Rico. Two people who've been destroyed by the same betrayal found healing and love with each other. It's one of the strangest and most beautiful endings to one of the most painful stories in country music. This story shows us that sometimes the worst betrayals can lead to unexpected blessings. It also shows us how important it is to be careful about who we trust with our hearts and our secrets. Our sixth story takes us into the messy world of celebrity divorces, where private pain becomes public entertainment. Sarah Evans was married to Craig Shelsk in 1993, and they had 3 young children together. From the outside, they looked like a happy family, but behind closed doors, their marriage was falling apart. In 2006, their problems exploded into public view when Craig filed court papers making shocking accusations about Sarah. He claimed that just one day before Sarah filed for divorce, he caught her having an affair with another man. According to Craig, this discovery led to a huge fight between them. But Sarah had her own accusations to make. In her divorce papers, she claimed that Craig had been having an affair with their former nanny, a woman named Allison Clinton. She also accused him of drinking too much, using inappropriate substances around their children, and watching adult movies in their home where the kids could see. The whole situation became a he-said-she-said battle that played out in the media. Both Craig and Allison denied Sarah's accusations, and Craig denied Sarah's claims about his behavior. But the damage was done. 3 young children had to watch their parents' marriage end in a very public and very ugly way. Sarah called the divorce very personal and very traumatic, especially for their kids. She said things went downhill at 100 miles per hour once they started fighting. After filing for divorce, She even got a restraining order to prevent Craig from taking money from their shared bank accounts. This story reminds us that when marriages end badly, it's usually the children who suffer the most. These three kids didn't ask for their parents to stop loving each other, and they definitely didn't ask for their family problems to become newspaper headlines. The seventh story is about a couple who managed to end their marriage with more grace and respect than many of the others we've talked about. Randy Travis was married to Elizabeth Hatcher for 19 years before they decided to get divorced. But their story is different because it shows that sometimes people can end their romantic relationship while still caring about each other. Elizabeth had been involved in Randy's career from the very beginning. She first met him when he was just a young man winning talent contests in North Carolina. At the time, she was married to someone else and managing a club, but she saw something special in Randy's talent. She eventually left her first marriage and moved to Nashville with Randy in the early 1980s to help him pursue his dreams. Randy's life before fame had been pretty rough. He had dropped out of high school and struggled with drinking, drug use, and getting in trouble with the law. But Elizabeth believed in him and helped him turn his life around. With her support, he became a born-again Christian and one of the biggest stars in country music. They got married in 1991, when Randy was already famous and successful. Elizabeth continued to manage his career and support his music. But sometimes two people can love each other and still not be right for each other as husband and wife. When they got divorced, they said it was because of incompatibility, which basically means they just weren't able to make their marriage work anymore. But unlike many celebrity divorces, theirs was handled with dignity and respect. They asked for privacy and said they were parting ways peacefully. Even more impressive, Elizabeth continued to work as Randy's manager even after their divorce. This shows that they were able to separate their personal relationship from their professional relationship and continue working together for their shared goals. This story gives us hope that not all breakups have to be filled with anger and bitterness. Sometimes two people can realize that they're better as friends and business partners than as husband and wife, and they can make that transition without destroying each other. Our eighth story is about a country music star whose moment of weakness in a bar changed his entire life forever. Jason Aldean had been married to his high school sweetheart, Jessica Usry, for over 10 years. They had grown up together, built a family together, and weathered all the challenges of his rise to fame together. But in 2012, Jason made a mistake that would cost him everything. He was out at a bar when he was photographed kissing a woman named Brittany Kerr. The pictures quickly spread across the internet and social media, shocking fans who thought Jason was happily married. Jason immediately admitted his mistake and apologized publicly. He said he'd been drinking and made a poor decision that embarrassed both himself and his family. He seemed genuinely sorry for the pain he had caused Jessica and their children. Jessica decided to forgive him, and they tried to work things out. Many fans hoped they would be able to save their marriage and move past this one mistake. After all, they had been together since they were teenagers and had built a whole life together. But sometimes one moment of betrayal can break something that can never be fully fixed. Even though Jessica tried to forgive Jason, the trust between them had been damaged. The pictures of him kissing another woman probably played over and over in her mind, making it impossible for her to forget what had happened. In 2013, less than a year after the bar incident, Jason filed for divorce. He said it was a difficult decision for his entire family, especially because he and Jessica had been together for so long. Just 1 year later, Jason confirmed that he was in a relationship with Brittany Kerr, the same woman from the bar photos. They got married in 2015. This story shows us how one bad decision can change everything. Jason probably thought that kissing Brittany was just a moment of weakness that didn't mean anything. But that one kiss ended his marriage, broke up his family, and changed the entire course of his life. It also shows us that sometimes sorry isn't enough to fix the damage we've done. Our ninth story is about one of the strangest and shortest celebrity marriages in country music history. Kenny Chesney married actress Renee Zellweger in 2005 after they had only been dating for a few months. Their quick wedding surprised fans, but what happened next was even more shocking. Just 4 months after their wedding, Renee filed for an annulment. An annulment is different from a divorce. is a legal way of saying that the marriage was never valid in the first place. But the reason Renee gave for the annulment was even more surprising. She listed fraud as a reason. The word fraud made people think that Kenny had lied to her about something important. Rumors started spreading that maybe Kenny had lied about his sexuality or hidden some other big secret from her. The gossip and speculation became so intense that it followed Kenny for years. Both Kenny and Renee denied all the rumors. Kenny said he didn't defend himself at first because he didn't want to bring more attention to the situation. Renee later explained that fraud was just a legal term her lawyers used and that it had nothing to do with Kenny's character or who he was as a person. But the damage was already done. The media attention and false rumors hurt both of them deeply. What had started as a romance between two famous people became a source of public embarrassment and lasting gossip that affected their reputations for years. This story shows us how dangerous it can be to rush into marriage, especially when you're famous, and every detail of your life becomes public entertainment. It also shows us how one legal word can be misunderstood and create rumors that follow you for the rest of your life. The 10th story takes us back to the early days of country music, when the industry was smaller, but the personal dramas were just as intense. Dottie West married Bill West in 1953, when she was still in college. Bill was a steel guitar player who performed in her band and helped her write some of her first songs. In the beginning, their marriage seemed perfect. They shared a love of music and worked together to build Dottie's career. They lived in a cute pink cottage in Nashville and later bought a bigger house, though it sadly burned down in a fire in 1969. But behind the scenes, their marriage was struggling. In 1972, after nearly 20 years together, they got divorced. Dottie later revealed that Bill had been unfaithful to her. After all those years of building a life and career together, Bill's betrayal ended their marriage. The sad thing about this story is that Bill and Dottie had seemed like such a good team. They wrote songs together, performed together, and supported each other's dreams. But Bill's cheating destroyed all of that. It shows us that even when two people seem perfect together professionally, their personal relationship can still fall apart if trust is broken. Bill continued his music career until he died in 2013, but the marriage he had destroyed with Dottie was never repaired. Sometimes the consequences of our actions last much longer than we expect them to. Our 11th story is about one of country music's most tragic and dramatic relationships. George Jones and Tammy Wynette were both superstars who seemed perfect together on stage, but their real life was filled with pain, addiction, and heartbreak. When they met, George was already famous, but his personal life was a mess. He drank heavily and would disappear for days at a time. There's a famous story about George being so desperate for alcohol that when someone tried to prevent him from driving to the liquor store, he rode his lawnmower several miles just to buy more drinks. Tammy had just escaped from her own painful marriage when she met George. She was drawn to his incredible talent and his charm when he was sober. When they sang together, their voices blended in a way that gave people chills. Fans could feel the emotion and connection between them. But their personal relationship was as dramatic and painful as their music. They fought constantly, slammed doors, and created scenes wherever they went. George would disappear for days, then come back with flowers and apologies. Tammy would forgive him again and again, hoping he would change. In 1976, Tammy tried to end the marriage by filing for divorce. But after one particularly emotional concert performance, she changed her mind and decided to give their relationship another chance. Unfortunately, the peace didn't last. In 1977, something happened that became one of country music's biggest mysteries. Tammy claimed that someone kidnapped her at gunpoint and left her injured on the side of the road. Some people believed her story, but others thought it might have been a publicity stunt. Some even suspected that George might have been involved. The truth was never proven, but Tammy's injuries were real. By 1978, their marriage was over for good. George's drinking got worse, and he became known as No-Show Jones because he would miss so many concerts. Tammy turned her pain into music, writing songs about heartbreak that millions of people could relate to. Even after their divorce, George and Tammy continued to perform together sometimes. But every time they sang together, it reminded everyone of the love that had destroyed both of their lives. Their story is a reminder that sometimes the most passionate love can also be the most destructive. The 12th story is about one of country music's strongest women and her complicated relationship with a man who both supported her career and broke her heart. Loretta Lynn married Oliver Doolittle Lynn when she was just 15 years old and he was 21. They met at a pie social in 1948 and got married soon after. Before Loretta became famous, she and Doolittle had 6 children together. Doolittle believed in Loretta's talent from the very beginning. He bought her a guitar and encouraged her to write and sing. He even pushed her to write her first song, I'm a Honky-Tonk Girl, which he wrote in just 20 minutes. As Loretta's career took off, Doolittle helped manage her and stayed involved in her success. In many ways, he was responsible for her becoming a star, but their marriage was far from happy. Loretta later shared stories about how Doolittle's drinking and cheating made her life miserable. She said she often didn't want to come home from her tours because she knew what she would find. Many of her songs were inspired by the pain of her marriage, stories of hurt, betrayal, and loneliness that millions of women could understand. Doolittle was unfaithful and could also be abusive toward Loretta. She admitted that they had terrible fights. In one fight, she even knocked out 2 of his teeth. Strangely, Doolittle thought this was funny and stayed proud of that moment. He told people that she was the only woman he ever loved, but Loretta knew better. Despite all the lies and heartbreak, Loretta never left Doolittle. She once said, if you can't fight for your man, he's not worth having. Her love for him remained strong even when he didn't deserve it. This story shows us the complicated nature of love and loyalty. Loretta could have left Doolittle many times, and many people would have understood if she had. But she chose to stay and fight for their marriage, even when it caused her tremendous pain. It's a reminder that love isn't always simple or easy to understand. Our 13th story brings us back to more recent times and shows how modern problems like social media and addiction can destroy even seemingly perfect marriages. Joe Don Rooney was a member of the popular country group Rascal Flatts, and he married Tiffany Fallon in 2006. They had 3 children together and looked like a happy family to the outside world. But behind the scenes, serious problems were growing. There were rumors that Rooney had been unfaithful, and these rumors became even more hurtful because Tiffany was pregnant at the time. Despite the public embarrassment, the couple tried to stay together. In 2021, Rooney filed for divorce, saying they had irreconcilable differences, which basically means they couldn't solve their problems. But Tiffany's response revealed just how bad things had gotten. She accused Rooney of inappropriate behavior and claimed that his drinking and drug use had destroyed their marriage. Both of them admitted to cheating. Rooney accused Tiffany of having an affair with her personal trainer. Tiffany admitted to the relationship, but said it only started after Rooney had already emotionally withdrawn from their marriage. She claimed that his addiction and bad behavior had pushed her away. The situation got even worse when Rooney was arrested in 2021 for driving under the influence after crashing his car. He went to rehab in Utah, spending over $315,000 trying to get clean. But even in rehab, there were allegations that he had an affair with another patient. This story shows us how addiction can destroy not just a person who is struggling, but their entire family. It also shows us how betrayal can lead to more betrayal, creating a cycle of pain that's hard to break. Our 14th story takes us back to the 1950s and one of country music's greatest female voices. Patsy Cline was known for incredible songs like Crazy and Walking After Midnight. Her first husband was Gerald Cline, a quiet construction worker who lived far from the spotlight of the music world. Gerald and Patsy got married in the late 1940s, hoping to build a simple life together. But as Patsy's career took off, their paths began to go in different directions. Gerald wanted a traditional wife who would stay home and take care of the house. Patsy wanted to chase her dreams on the stage and in recording studios. Patsy's late-night performances and time away from home started rumors about possible affairs. Even if the rumors weren't true, they were enough to create doubt and strain in a marriage that was already struggling with the pressures of fame. Gerald grew tired of living in the shadows while his wife became more and more famous. Patsy couldn't give up the stage and the career she had worked so hard to build. In 1957, their marriage ended in divorce. This story shows us how difficult it can be when two people want different things out of life. Neither Gerald nor Patsy was necessarily wrong. They just weren't compatible anymore. Sometimes people grow apart not because of betrayal or bad behavior, but simply because they want different futures. Our 15th story is about a more recent scandal that shocked the country music world and showed how quickly modern relationships can become public disasters. Miranda Lambert was dating Anderson East when she began working with a band called Turnpike Troubadours. The lead singer of that band was Evan Felker, who had been married to a woman named Stacy since 2016. When Miranda and Evan started their affair in 2018, it became public very quickly thanks to social media and entertainment news. Soon after the affair became known, both Evan and Stacy got divorced, and Miranda ended her relationship with Anderson East. The situation drew major attention because it involved multiple relationships being destroyed at the same time. Stacy, Evan's wife, was completely blindsided by her husband's betrayal. She had to deal not only with the pain of her marriage ending, but also with the embarrassment of it becoming a public scandal. Miranda announced later that year that she was happily single, suggesting that her relationship with Evan had also ended quickly. Many people saw their romance as brief, but very damaging to everyone involved. In a surprising turn of events, Evan and Stacy quietly got back together after their divorce. In 2021, they welcomed their first child together, showing that sometimes people can rebuild what seemed to be completely destroyed. This story reminds us that in the age of social media, celebrity affairs can become public very quickly, making the pain even worse for everyone involved. It also shows us that sometimes people can find their way back to each other after betrayal, though the scars probably never completely disappear. Our 16th story involves two of country music's biggest stars whose marriage ended amid rumors and bitter accusations. Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert seemed like the perfect country music power couple when they got married, but their relationship was trouble from the beginning. Even before their 4-year marriage ended in 2015, there were whispers about Blake's possible connection with other women, including singer Gwen Stefani. After their divorce, things became more public and bitter between them. When news broke about Miranda's affair with Evan Felker, Blake posted something on social media about karma, suggesting that he felt vindicated or that Miranda was getting what she deserved. This created even more drama and bad feelings between them. Things got even more complicated when Miranda's ex-boyfriend Jeff Allen made public accusations. He claimed that both Blake and Miranda had been cheating when they first got together, that Blake was still married and Miranda was still dating Jeff when they began their affair. Although Jeff later deleted his post, it showed how much pain and anger their relationships had caused. Behind all their fame and success, Blake and Miranda's story became one of broken trust and emotional wounds that never healed properly. Their divorce showed that even when two people seem perfect together professionally, their personal relationship can be filled with problems that the public never sees. Our final story takes us back to the very beginning of country music and one of its most legendary and tragic figures. Hank Williams Sr. was a voice behind classics like Your Cheating Heart and I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, but his personal life was even more heartbreaking than his saddest songs. Hank married Audrey Williams in 1944, but from the very beginning, their relationship was filled with pain, arguments, and betrayal. Hank's cheating became a constant pattern in their marriage. He would meet other women while he was touring and performing, leaving Audrey humiliated and alone at home. But Audrey wasn't innocent either. She was also rumored to have affairs of her own. Their constant arguing, fueled by Hank's drinking and serious health problems, made their home a place of sadness rather than love. Despite all the pain they caused each other, Audrey tried to help manage Hank's career and support his success. But the emotional damage in their relationship was too deep to repair. They got divorced in 1952, just 1 year before Hank's tragic death at the age of 29. Hank and Audrey's story remains one of country music's most tragic love stories. Their marriage was poisoned by betrayal and addiction, and neither of them could find a way to say what they had once shared. It's a reminder that sometimes love isn't enough to overcome the damage that people do to each other. These 17 stories show us that even the most famous and talented people in the world struggle with love, trust, and making good choices. Affairs and betrayal can destroy families and change lives in ways that last forever. While country music has always told stories about heartbreak, these real-life troubles behind the songs show us just how difficult relationships can be. These stories teach us important lessons about love and marriage. They show us that love needs honesty, respect, and commitment to survive. They remind us that fame and success don't protect people from making mistakes or experiencing heartbreak. Most importantly, they show us that our choices don't just affect us, they affect everyone we love. Some of these couples found their way to happiness eventually, while others live with the consequences of their mistakes for the rest of their lives. But all of them remind us that real love requires more than just passion and attraction. It requires trust, loyalty, and a commitment to do the right thing even when it's difficult. If you found these stories as fascinating and heartbreaking as we did, make sure to hit that like button and let us know in the comments which story surprised you the most. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more behind-the-scenes stories about your favorite country music stars. Share this video with anyone who loves country music and wants to know the real stories behind the songs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video where we'll uncover more secrets from the world of country music.